NHADCH 16.14 years and 2 weeks later. The year is drawing to a close. Ornaments of every sort adorn the surrounding trees, the handiwork of the villagers. They remind me of the Christmas trees from my original world. Many people walk briskly through the roads, likely preparing for the New Year celebrations. At least that's my impression. Just 2 more weeks and the New Year will arrive. But before that, there is still one more story event to complete. The fencing school match, a tournament using real swords, which will be our last lesson before graduation. I make a fist pump inside my heart. Finally I've reached this point. I'll be able to graduate next spring. In order to keep winning against Alfred, I've been practicing the sword under that stern tutor. That guy is definitely a sadist of mine. I've also been practicing hard in the magic department, so that I'll beat Alfred as the top of the intermediate magic class. All this while fighting my incessant headache. Although I wish it's not necessary to research techniques in magic negation and magic conservation to deal with Alfred while studying and practicing, it can't be helped anyway. I can't slack off now. I need to keep pushing forward to prepare for when that tragic night comes. I must increase my chances of survival. However, this doesn't mean I need to win the fencing tournament. I'm just trying to extend the period in which I'm still better than Alfred. Yeah, thinking like this brings me relief. The best thing about this event is that I can take it easy. Because I just have to lose. I only need to make it look convincing, and it'll be done. No preparation required. Since the fencing event will occur as a tournament, I'll have to make it to the final round. But I'm not too worried about that. As long as I'm not careless, I should be fine. On the other hand, the so-called swordsmanship of the other students is merely at the level of swinging swords for amusement. Aside from Alfred and I, no one else has the spirit and ability to fight intense battles where one small mistake can instantly decide victory and defeat. Just like in our matches. I can even bet all of my snacks today, the chocolate chip scone and royal flush tea. This sense of freedom is really nice. But every time I think about the incoming event in 2 years, I'll feel depressed. My stomach will hurt, and my heart will palpitate. That said, my plans are also progressing steadily. After all, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Best of all, I've thought of a good idea. I really want to scold myself silly for not thinking of it until now. I should just hire the future hero. His ridiculous magic power and physical strength are begging to be put to use. That guy is surprisingly serious and diligent at work. He will accept everything, from housework to manual labor, as long as it fits in his schedule. There are 2 years left. Whether I like it or not, the time frame has already been decided. Knowing about the incoming disaster, I can't find the heart to care about appearances anymore. I've decided to brutally train the future hero. Since the goddess still hasn't contacted me, I won't be penalized. Right. Speaking of which, why hasn't she contacted me? Could my prediction be correct? Did something happen to her? That'd be bad. Stop thinking, Leanne. I beg you. If I get stomach ulcers from stress, I'll definitely ask her for workers' compensation. Seriously. Anyway, I previously asked Alfred to charge another 50 medium-sized and 30 large magic origin stones. He's been completing this task during his free time, delivering the product to me a little at a time. With the stones, I can make a more powerful version of the alarm series, as well as improve the barrier at the evacuation site. Above all, I can also make a fence, among the numerous other ideas I previously abandoned due to my lack of magic origin stones. When I say fence, I mean a fortress spanning the entire field that can repel the wild beasts. One that gives off an electric shock upon contact with a moving object. I want to make a stronger version that can repel demons. Thanks to the future hero, I finally resolved the energy problems that had been plaguing my thoughts for a while. Yay. Thank you very much, Alfred. I won't waste your magic power. I don't have enough to charge many large magic origin stones. To finish just one will take me several days, and to the point of collapse. But buying ones that are already charged would put a hole in my wallet. There are places that sell magic origin stones and other magic products. But they're super expensive. For this reason, you will rarely see them used in average households. It is like praising someone who replaced their oil lamp with a magic lamp using 3 months' worth of wages. And if the battery, magic power starts to run out, a person can either recharge the stone themselves, or pay someone to do it, though the latter option is expensive. Most will generally choose to buy ordinary products devoid of magic. Just look at the number of students taking the intermediate magic class. Even in that class, very few are capable of charging stones on their own. Although those with high magic power reserves can enter that industry, charging magic stones too frequently ran a high risk of bodily harm. Then there's the risk of exploitative companies. Not only are their wages low, they will squeeze you for all you're worth. Until your body breaks down. And there's no guarantee of getting into a respectable company. Or at least that's the hearsay around town. Which is why most people don't really recommend such a career. I guess no matter the world, exploitative companies exist. Ugh. I want to crush them to bits. There are numerous magic lamps in the Owen family mansion. There's also a self-heating pot where just adding water for 3 minutes would yield boiled water. Even though it makes my life easier, I feel awfully bad. After all, I am originally a commoner. I don't want to get used to luxury. Money comes and goes. One shouldn't think that one will be rich forever. Do you understand, Leon's mother? You purchased more insanely expensive dresses and accessories from the royal capital, didn't you? How wasteful. Go return all of them within the return period. Without even realizing it, I exasperated myself. Let's go back on topic with a cool head. In my private research and development room, I unfurl my map of Western Leys Village, the one I personally drew after studying my sketches of Leys Village. The Owen family also has a map of Leys Village, but since it was made 50 years ago, it's outdated. Please update it, Leon's father. The people and structures definitely changed. For this reason, I have remade the map. The map will be extremely crucial when I start installing the defense against the demon's strike. After all, I don't want to be setting up the defensive elements in places the demons won't even pass through. I drew the sketches in my free time. I went to measure the land and drew the topography, fixing any errors once I returned home. It was a straightforward and time-consuming task. But I finished it in the end. Amazing, huh? I really want to praise myself. Leys Village occupied a large territory, with the western region especially massive. Therefore, sketching the western region took longer than I expected. It's slightly disappointing. If I expend a lot of energy, I can also try to complete the maps of the northern and southern regions of Leys Village. However, my time limit of 2 years will most likely be up before I can finish them. So I've decided to take a bet. But it doesn't mean I'm being reckless. After calculating until my head hurts, I bet on the method with the greatest success rate. After all, I can't afford to lose this bet. The troublesome large country that will summon the Demon King is to the far west of Leys Village. At the heart of that country was the starting point of the Demon King's supreme magic power. As well as the starting point of the miasma, which threw demons into a berserk state. The miasma would slowly spread, its path mimicking an ever-growing circle, tainting any and everything before it. In other words, the horde of demons should come from the western side of Leys Village. As such, I will add several layers of defense on that particular side of the village. Not to mention the grand fortress I will place there. Despite the want to cover the entire village with an impenetrable defense, it's basically impossible considering the materials, time, and manpower required. But even if it's just the western border of the village, it's still a large area protected. I'm thinking of placing the electric shock series of the demon-repelling fences there. They're currently under mass production. And that's where the future hero comes in. For him, installing a fence is a walk in the park. Quick and easy. He's a person with too much stamina and strength anyway. If he helps, the progress will be faster. I plan to make as many parts as possible for the electric shock series of demon-repelling fences. After graduating from school, I can start focusing on the construction. I also plan to stay in the village to help Leon's father and brother with work. That way, I can make my defense plan part of the tasks they give to me. I will try to recommend the installation of the fences to Leon's father, using the excuse that demons who recently moved into the western forest are damaging the village's fields and harming its livestock. He'll definitely agree if I tell him the benefits. For example, the gain of the village's trust, which will make them more compliant to the yearly taxes. Not to mention, he will be praised for his good work in the end-of-year meeting. Additionally, his boss will have a better impression of him. The standards and method of motivation of Leon's father are simple. Basically wealth, prestige and promotion. Once I get permission, I'll be able to openly gather the labor force. The only problem now is the workaholic Alfred, who fills his whole timetable with part-time jobs. Unless I book him early, he likely won't be able to accept the job in case of emergencies. There's also the chance he may need to quit his other part-time jobs to have the time for mine, so I should ask him as early as possible. And there's another merit in hiring that guy. If I'm together with Alfred, I can go deeper into the woods without worry, and test the alarm and barrier with mid-sized demons. He is the future hero after all. There is no one better at protection than him. Besides, this can be an exercise in battle training for him. So I'm hitting two birds with one stone. Yes, I must secure him immediately. Let's quickly try to negotiate with Alfred after he comes home this evening. I need to strike while the iron is hot. As I resume checking the latest version of the map, a smile slides across my lips. NHADCH 16.2. Are you up for working part-time for me after graduation? It'll be around 3 to 4 days a week. Currently, Alfred and I are sitting in the church's dining room. Since Marie and the kids are currently observing their usual evening worship, it's only Alfred and me present. As Alfred gulps down what seems to be a large bowl of ratatouille, one try to negotiate with him. By the way, I also ate dinner here. A mix of various vegetables with simmered salted meat in the spices. It's delicious and pairs well with bread. The vegetables came from Marie's vegetable patch behind the church. Rich in nutrients, dietary fiber, and affection, I can eat 'em without worry. As he stuffs his third piece of bread into his mouth, Alfred's stare bores into me, one eyebrow slightly raised. The speed and volume of his food intake both amaze me. Where does it all go? Does he make a trip to the toilet right after eating? Even though I started my dinner before him, he's almost finished with his serving. Calm down and eat more slowly. That's bad for your stomach, you know. Part-time. Yeah, you'll basically be assisting me in territory management and maintenance. Sometimes, you'll escort me as well. There's more to the job description, of course. Anyway, the daily wage is 10,000 ed. Doesn't matter if you finish your tasks early or late. After all, I don't have a definite schedule, and my work will probably differ every day. It's also a pain in the butt to pay him by the hour since I'll have to repeatedly calculate how much to pay him. It will be easier to pay him daily. The daily wage is already set quite high, so even if he ends up finishing late, it should be enough to cover his overtime payment. Not to mention, calculating overtime pay is too much of a hassle in itself. This should be a great deal for him, right? 10,000. That's right. How about it? Alfred tilts his gaze upward while narrowing his eyes. He slowly strokes his chin. Looks like he's thinking about it. My heart is filled with confusion. Contrary to my expectations, he doesn't accept my proposal immediately. Why not? My offered wage should be absurdly high, high enough to remove the other part-time jobs from his consideration. After mulling over it, Alfred finally returns his gaze to me. Got it. I'll take your job as my main one. His phrasing is weird. He said he'll take my job as his main one. Does that mean he's already received other offers? If that's true, then it's a good thing I talked to him today. As I thought, the faster I strike, the better. That's something my grandfather often told me. I put my previous thoughts into words. What? So you've taken on other jobs? Once more, Alfred submerges into his thoughts, this time lowering his gaze as he strokes his chin. It doesn't take long before he's staring straight at me again. It's not urgent, but Cheddar-san has asked me to move in as I continue working at their ranch. Since your job will be 3 or 4 days a week, I'll just work at Cheddar-san's ranch every Sunday. Like how I am now. No, wait. We're going to graduate soon. That means I can work during the weekends too. So how about this? I'll ask Cheddar-san to move my schedule to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Move in. Alfred nods. Yeah, they have a lot of vacant rooms, so they're letting me use one free of charge. Cheddar-san and his wife live by themselves. It'll be wasteful to leave those rooms empty. They even said they won't mind if I lived with them for a while. I gulp. That means, he probably will. I also feel bad about it, so I'm wondering whether they'll let me pay rent. If they do, then I'll have to negotiate with them about it later. And no. I mean, if that's the case, you can make Cheddar-san's job your priority. After all, my job schedule will be irregular. Why don't you work for me on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday instead? No, even just Saturday and Sunday will be okay. Is that all right? Yeah, let's just do that. Your job at the ranch should be more important for you, so you should prioritize it. Then, after you graduate, you'll stay at Cheddar-san's place, right? And leave the church. You're right, I think I'll take Cheddar-san up on the offer. I heard that they've already emptied a room for me, even though I haven't agreed yet. And Cheddar-san's wife has already started sewing the curtains and sheets. They sure acted ahead of time. It'd be hard for me to refuse now. I see. I can't stay in the church forever. A new batch of kids arrived the other day. I have to quickly move out to make room for them. Also, the timing is perfect, since I've just started looking for a new place to live, says Alfred, smiling at me. For some reason, it takes me a while to return his smile. The Cheddars they must be thinking of adopting Alfred. I'm sure of my premonition. Perhaps the Cheddars will try living together with Alfred, getting used to each other. And after Alfred becomes accustomed to living with them, they'll discuss that option with him. Right. I think so. The kind people. They're likely planning on taking it slow. This is something to celebrate, but I can't find it in myself to congratulate him. And I really hate myself for it. It's finally time for him to leave the church too. No, leaving at his age is already quite late. Alfred has already sent off numerous kids. But that means I won't see him at the church anymore. That said, I can't be selfish. I need to congratulate him. Like I mentioned before, this is a happy occasion. Very much so. Alfred will finally have his own family. Not a temporary one, like the one he found at the church, but a family that will stay. A family that he can call his own. Come on, just say it. What am I waiting for? Just congratulate him already. Congratulations. You've finally found a permanent home. I wish you happiness. And health too. There. I've tried my best. But this guy doesn't even say a word of thanks. He simply looks at me with a sad face. What is it now, this idiot? He even heaves a sigh, of all things. Leanne, you are really, what did you mean by saying these kinds of things? Did you even understand what I said? I'm not going to some distant land. I'm just moving to Cheddar-san's ranch. It's only a bit farther than the church. Moving. Yeah, I'm worried about Granny and the kids, so I'll visit the church regularly. Besides, you said you'll hire me. So we can still meet up, right? When he puts it like that, he's got a point. Even after we graduate, I'll still have the chance to meet with him. If you think about it, I'm basically just changing where I sleep from the church to Cheddar-san's house. Just changing where you sleep. Isn't that right? Is that really the case? Now that he mentions it, I can see his point. However, is it really okay for you to think of it like that? Isn't your understanding a bit different from that of the general public? This is not something to cry about, okay? Says Alfred, smiling as he pats my head. Taken aback, I hurriedly rub my eyes. I admit that my eyes are slightly damp, but that's only because I rubbed them too much. The just lubricant tears. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. I say, shaking off the hand on my hand. I see. Why yeah. That's right. Leanne, after I leave the church, you can use my room as much as you want. After you leave. After hearing those words, I can barely form a sentence. Well, it's only until the next kid takes my room. Leanne, I told you not to cry. I'm not crying. I can hear my voice shaking, but that's just my imagination. I'm not crying. There's nothing here that is making me sad. After all, this place is full of happiness. I see. Alfred laughs and pulls me closer to him. He wraps his arms around me in a tight embrace. His much thicker and longer arms. I am completely buried in him. Has he grown again? Has he still not finished puberty? How much taller does this idiot want to grow? The difference between our physiques is becoming more and more prominent. While it's good that the future hero is growing this much, it still feels somewhat frustrating. Please share some of the magic with me too. Then Alfred strokes my back with his large hand. As if calming a child. What a conceited kid. He treats me like this even though I am older than him. Psychologically, I'm not going to some distant land. Besides, you said that you'll hire me. So we can still meet up, right? Why yeah. Anyway, if one day I need to go somewhere far away, I'll definitely take you along. Don't worry. The moment Alfred says those words, my eyes widen. He'll take me along. He's said this before in the past. Promised it, actually. But does he really mean it? I haven't decided when yet, but after I've settled down I want to return to Valmcado. That large country in the west. Even if it's just for one day, I'll be fine with it. NHADCH 16.3. Valmcado, a large country in the west. The country that will summon the Demon King in the future. Unlike the peaceful country we're in, Valmcado has been in conflict with a large southern country for a long time, almost 100 years of animosity. Deciding to end it once and for all, Valmcado will summon the Demon King using a forbidden method. To escape the war between the two countries, many people have already fled to the country Alfred and I are in. Leon's father has been grumbling about this influx of new people. It seems like his boss asked him to accept all of the refugees the other day. The country, in the west. Yeah, it's currently just a plan, but I do have to go back one day. My mother is still sleeping there, Alfred murmurs, chuckling. I wasn't able to give her a proper burial back then. If possible, I want to bring her back to this village. We had no good memories back in our homeland. I believe my mother will prefer this calm village. I see. That may be for the better. Valmcado is a large and technologically advanced country, but it is too chaotic. It's not a country where one can live peacefully. If Alfred's mother can move here, she will surely be able to rest in peace. That's why, like I've said before, I'm thinking of taking a short visit back to Valmcado once I've settled down. After he settles down. After 2 years have passed. Once again, my mind is trembling. You're going to leave the village. Yeah, it will be a long journey, but, Alfred continues me, looking a bit anxious. Are you okay with it? Leon's role is only until this village arc. If I survive, I'll have my freedom in the future, since Leon doesn't have any scenarios beyond that. And when that time comes, it doesn't matter to me whether I can return to my original world. I can do whatever I want. Go wherever I want. I'll be free to do anything. The script is blank. There'll be no need to act anymore. Up until now, the goddess who threw me into this world had not contacted me even once, even after all my shouts and prayers. That's why, I've already inwardly prepared myself for the worst case scenario. And also, 4 years. I have lived in this world for 4 years. It's only natural I have grown attached to many things and people in this world. If I return to my original world, I will be all alone again, in a home with no one to welcome me back, no one to ask how my day is. One side of me is thinking that, it may not be that bad to stay here. But that's only if I'm able to survive the incident that's coming in 2 years. If I can go. Leanne. Besides, this guy will soon be traveling with the Holy Maiden. Whether he will fulfill this promise when the time comes is uncertain. If I can go, that would be nice. One day, together with you. Once I finish my role as Leanne, I don't need to act as your rival anymore. I can have a normal friendship with you. Making a ruckus together with you doesn't sound bad. We can even take as many stopovers as you like along the way, and I won't mind. We can go wherever we want and eat whatever we want. Talk about things we love. Laugh together. I wonder, can we be like that? If we can, that would be nice. I'm sure it will truly be a fun journey. What are you saying? Of course you can come along. Alfred stares at me, while looking a bit angry. Really? I've already promised you that I'll take you along. I wouldn't lie to you. If we're together, I'm sure things will come out fine. What's with that self-confidence? I can't help but laugh. It's like he's claiming a monopoly on me. Alfred also breaks into a laugh. Before I realize how close his face is, he kisses me. Caught off guard, I can only submit to it. Why, you are really NGH. This time, he tightly clings onto me. Even though I want to back away, my back hits against the back of the chair. There's no way to escape. This probably isn't something that comrades or even friends do with each other. But if I point this out directly, our relationship will definitely change, and that may be the end of me. I have to stop him right now. This is bad. Very bad. The location is also hardly satisfactory. What is he thinking, doing something like this in the dining room? This situation is terrible in many ways. Summoning all my strength, I shove against Alfred's chest. Alfred finally pulls back. Upon opening my eyes, I'm faced with his wet lips and heated gaze. I tear my gaze away. My heart can't bear those feverish eyes. Again, this is really bad. What should I do now? Alfred kisses my temple, his larger body casting a shadow upon my line of sight. He then does the same to my cheeks and the corner of my lips. Why, Al, Stowe. Why? What do you mean why? Alfred moves to kiss the area between my eyebrows, and then moves to my lips again. He tilts his head, the angle deepening our kiss. As I shove against Alfred's chest, he pulls his head back. Once I open my eyes, his eyes, darker than usual, gaze into mine at a very close distance. Even if I don't want to understand the feverish discomfort inside his heart, I can't help it. I pretend to be ignorant of the fact, lowering my gaze in a fluster. It's also excessively hot inside his embrace. Despite his usual calmness, I can hear his breathing, slightly rough and harsh. I can't bear to hear it. I wish I can deafen my ears. Hey, smooch. I hear a cute voice that is very out of place in this current situation. Smooching. Al-Nichar, unfair. Unfair. Smooch. Unfair. Me too. Smooch with Lian Shah. Quote exclamation mark quote. Standing from the other side of the door, the set of 3 siblings are dressed in pajamas with matching hoodies, their red, yellow, and green eyes looking up at me. They must have woken up to go to the toilet. After all, they always go together, a 3-person set everywhere they go. Perhaps they saw the light in the living room and came to take a peek. Alfred's hold slightly loosens, and I take advantage of this, quickly twisting away from his grasp. After grabbing my shoes on the floor, I run towards the 3 siblings waiting by the dining room entrance. Lian Shah. Go home. Wimmer. Yeah, that's right. I'm going home now. Here is the, see you next week, smooch. I crouch down and plant a kiss on each of the foreheads. The kids stare in wonder at me. Wah. Smooch. Hey. Lian Shah. Smooch. Kyaa. Smooch. Cheeks growing flushed, the 3 siblings jump in excitement, grins bright on their little faces. I feel my frayed heart slowly healing. Suddenly, a rattling noise from behind me. Ah, you. Looking at how I easily gave my kisses to the kids, Alfred raises his voice in protest. I hear the squeak of a chair forcefully sliding, and immediately rush to the corridor. As I dash through the hallway, I see Marie and the other kids. It seems like the evening worship is over. Oh my. What happened, Lian Sama? Why are you so in a hurry? Lian Sama, your face is red. Is it a fever? Are you alright? It's not a fever. I'm okay. Bye, Marie Sama, everyone. See you next week. I wave my hand while running away without pause. Yes. Please go home carefully, okay? Being too hasty is dangerous. See you, Lian Sama. See you. Yeah, see you. I continue to wave as I exit the church. I don't look back. Not even once. That idiot. There really is no such thing as being too guarded when it comes to him. For some reason, I seem to sense an erotic aura around him in these past few days. No, this kind of atmosphere is strange. Alright. Also, Alfred is being excessive with his touches and kisses. Maybe it's because he's at the age where he's horny all the time. Such an impulse can't be stopped. But if that's the case, don't try it with me, okay? Do it with other people. Don't settle for me. Is there someone in charge of the future hero's sex education? Please take care of it for him. This is out of my jurisdiction. Ah, damn it. The worst thing is that it feels good, likely because of our high compatibility. No. Come back to your senses, me. You used to be normal, right? You used to like girls. Remember your preference for older women. That guy is a brat. Not to mention male. You can't possibly like him. But the scariest thing is that I'm gradually getting used to it. Whenever he kisses me, I feel my resistance weakening more each time. No. Get a hold of yourself. Stop going with the flow. I beg you, me.